Hello and welcome to this broadcast for the month of January. My name is Miguel Chavez.
And I'm Zaira Peregrino.
And we've got a great show ready for you today. All the members of the BBN have been working hard to bring you the content that you want to see.
That's right, Miguel. And to start off, if you've been at the gas pump lately, you may have noticed that you're paying significantly less to fuel up your tank. One of our field reports, Kiana Yeager, give a closer look to tell you why.
Whether you own a car or not, you may have noticed the falling prices at the pump. Gas prices peaked in 2011, averaging around $4 a gallon. As you can see, since then it has dropped to as low as $1.88 a gallon. We asked people at the pump if they knew what the cause of the sudden drop was.
Okay, so I watch the news all the time, and the only thing that I hear or see that makes any sense is that the Arabs have all the oil and they don't care whether they get just a few dollars a barrel or not.
We then consulted Dan Carter, the manager of L&M Western Tire and Oil, a local gas station here in Scott City, to see if he could shed any light on the question.
A lot of it is we have plenty of crude oil now, which is what gas and diesel products are made from, and with the continued drilling, the high price of it encouraged a lot of drilling of the, and now there's plenty of it around, and then that makes plenty of fuel. So it's right now it's just simply a matter of supply and demand. So prices go down as there is more supply out there.
Low gas prices may seem like a great thing at first, but what could this sudden drop be doing to the economy?
It's going to hurt the economy. It's not going to wreck it, but it's going to hurt it if you get it too low. And I think that we should get in a posture so that we can be oil independent from the world. I think that would be very good.
But how long will this last?
It probably won't go past into next year that crude oil will start going back up. Obviously, if consumers don't have to pay as much for a tank full of gas, they're more apt to spend that money that they save on other commodities or things.
Whatever the reasons may be for the low gas prices, for now, most residents in Scott City aren't complaining. I'm Kiana Yeager reporting for BBN TV 12.
You know, my car gets decent fuel mileage, but regardless, I've noticed a pretty big difference.
Yeah, like Hannah said, I won't be complaining anytime soon.
For our next story, Clarissa Ratzlaff has an update on the fire that occurred on Main Street in September.
Clarissa and I did a report on this back in October, but we felt that it was an important thing for us to check back up on the businesses involved to show you where they are now.
I'm here behind the building where Brown's Butcher Block was located on Main Street when the fire took place on September 8th in Scott Community. Sources suspect the fire began on the second floor in the back of the building due to an electrical issue. To the right of me is where Bling, owned by Mark and Nicole Campos, was located, and to the left, with a small area separating, was Bruce's Carpet and Tile Company, owned by Gil Lewis, previously owned by his father. I had an opportunity to speak with the three main business owners previously this month.
After the fire, we were really indecisive about what we wanted to do. With us only being in business for 3 years, we didn't know if we wanted to take the leap of faith and open back up. Our biggest obstacle with that was finding a retail space to be able to open up again. But like we always do, we just left it in God's hands, and here we are. We've lived in Scott City for 16 years, and this is our home. So as long as we have the business and are able to keep our business going and successful, this is where we're going to be.
Bling is doing well in their new location. Although it's probably a third of the space from their previous store on Main Street, the store area is large enough for their business needs.
We are still located in our temporary location. It worked well for us. It's not going to be a long-term location because of the space issues, but the future we're not certain of yet. We're still waiting on answers on that as well.
Basically what we have done is obviously we relocated in 519 Main, which is a much smaller building than what we're used to be into. We have a little warehouse in the back, but far as volume, the things that we have in stock, we're exactly at the same point that we were before the fire, and we've got newer, neater displays.
You know, you lose your livelihood and don't know how you're going to make it, but everybody took such great care of us and really made us feel like opening back up was the best idea, and we're so glad that we took that step.
Yeah, we just appreciate the support like crazy because it's helped us stay in Scott City and we want to be here.
Well, the experience, the thing that I've taken away from it, you're never as down as what you think you might be. And as I've climbed the mountain, you're never on top of it either. And the thankfulness that I have through this experience, like I stated earlier, is the way you feel a part of something. It makes you feel like you're appreciated. And Bruce's has been here forever and a day, and we feel like we are appreciated from the community.
In Scott City, I'm Clarissa Ratzlaff reporting for the BBN TV 12.
It's good to see that those businesses were able to bounce back like they did.
Yeah, it's great to live in a community like ours where everyone supports each other. And one of the top issues in our community, like many other communities in southwestern Kansas, is clean drinking water for city residents.
It appears that the main problem in Scott City is an abundance of nitrates and other contaminants making their way into the groundwater supply. To try and remedy the situation, the city of Scott City has built filtration plants all around town in an attempt to fix the issue. Chance Yeager has more on how the city is addressing the problem.
As a resident in Scott City, I can trust that the water I drink is properly cared for, thanks to the city workers like Mike Todd. Mike has been working on the water treatment project for several years now.
What the water treatment project is basically it's the removal of nitrates out of our city drinking water.
In Scott City, we have 6 wells, and they pump a lot of water into the water treatment plant. Currently in the wintertime, an estimated 400,000 gallons will run through the plant each day. In the summertime, we can expect over 2 million gallons will run through the plant daily. We receive many benefits from purifying our drinking water.
The benefits of having these plants, one is staying in compliance with KDH&E and the EPA so that we can pump water out to the public. Nitrates is responsible for a lot of different things. The biggest thing is probably blue baby syndrome. It's harmful to the young, it's harmful to the old. So if we can take all that out of our system, that just eliminates those health issues.
Scott City's water problem is not going away anytime soon. But with the help of Mike Todd and the water treatment plants, our battle against unsafe water is looking much brighter. From Scott City, I'm Chance Yeager, reporting for BBN TV 12.
Wow, Chance. I felt like I was on a school field trip with how informative that was. Good job.
Yeah, I miss school field trips. Why don't we take those anymore? Anyway, a new ongoing segment we have is called The Gross Report. James Slater created the first episode of The Gross Report and covered a mysterious odor emitting from the halls of SCHS. James?
Ew. Students of SCHS have been noticing an odd smell emitting from the very halls they study in. It has been quite an ordeal so far. But what is it doing to the students? Some may ask why sewer gases are backing up. Under our school is a network of pipes, all leading to a central line. Somewhere along the system is an uncapped pipe, which is allowing gases to release into the school.
The smell at the high school, we think, has to do with some traps and some tunnels underneath the building that were not closed off when the building was added onto and remodeled.
Other than making a bad smell, if the gases smell like rotten eggs, it may be from hydrogen sulfide, which can be detected by our most basic senses.
We continue to call Tetro Plumbing from the school district, and they're a company out of Garden City that was in on the initial remodel and in on the initial building of the addition.
High levels cannot be detected generally by our senses. At these concentrations, students lose consciousness and death. Extremely high concentrations can kill you after a single breath. We are unsure as of now the concentrations in the high school itself, but it is quite a problem to the students of SCHS. This has been James Slater with BBN TV 12. Ew.
Well, I hope they get that fixed as soon as possible.
Yeah, me too. That smell is pretty distracting. Moving on, do you know who the man on the screen behind us is? If not, then our next episode of the ongoing segment, Better Know a Teacher, should help you out. I went to the USD 466 Administration Building to have a talk with first-year Superintendent Jamie Rumford. All right, Mr. Rumford, first of all, thank you for being on this month's Better Know a Teacher segment. Now, with this being your first year, not everyone knows you yet, so I'm here to sort of remedy that by helping people get to know you a little better. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. Thanks for having me, Miguel.
All right, so first off, congratulations on being the first administrator to be on the segment. So be honest, is this the highest honor you have ever received?
It's got to be up there today for sure. It's the highest honor, but yeah, it's got to be up there with the all-time highest honors.
Well, good. So I see that you're married. Do you have any kids?
I've got 5 children. I've got 2 stepchildren. Both are in college now. I've got a 7th grade daughter, a 5th grade daughter, and a 2nd grade son.
Awesome. Yeah. So next question, where are you from and where were you before you came to Scott City?
I grew up in western Kansas. I grew up in Norton. We played them in football this year, and I think our wrestlers were just up there as well too. So I'm very common with the area. Played against Scott City a little bit when I was growing up in high school. I've been in education for 19 years, and so I taught for 10 years in Spearville, which is close to Dodge City, and then the last 8 years I've been in Cheney as a principal, and that's just on the west side of Wichita. So now we're in Scott City and happy to be here.
So you talked about Scott City and Norton and going to those sporting events. When you were there, did it feel a little weird, like who you were rooting for and stuff like that?
Oh, a little bit. There's no doubt I was cheering for Scott City. It was neat to see some of my classmates, kids playing ball, and some of the people I grew up with in the stands. It was neat to see them again, and the traditions of a football game in Norton bring back some good memories, and it was fun to be on the other side and of the field and watch a great competition.
Yeah, I remember broadcasting that game, and it was one of the more interesting ones to watch.
Yeah.
So what made you want to come be the superintendent at Scott Community High School?
Actually, for the whole district. I'm the superintendent for the entire district. So I think what stuck out most about Scott City was the opportunity for my kids. I'm a dedicated educator, and will always be in education. But I feel like first and foremost, I'm a father and a husband, and I want to put my kids in the best situation I can. So when I looked at Scott City, I looked at the opportunities my kids are going to have, being able to participate in activities, athletics, along with the quality education a strong community provides, Western Kansas culture provides. All those were very appealing to me. So first and foremost, it was about my kids. Looking into it a little bit, I got to know some of the staff members that were here. The last people I got to meet were the kids, and I've been nothing but thoroughly impressed with the kids we have in our district. So it was a compilation of a lot of things that are really important to me as an educator, as a father, just as a community member. I feel like Scott City holds all of those.
That's great. That's good to know. Next question. So I don't know if you're familiar with the superintendent that was here before you, but he and I were pretty close. In fact, we had this arrangement before he left that at graduation, when he handed me my diploma, we would chest bump. So I was just trying to see if we could work something out.
The superintendent before me is a great guy, very nice guy. Has helped me a lot with a lot of things. I think he's probably a little more trim and fit than I am, and so you might bounce off of me a little harder than you would him. So I'll see what we can do, but your safety is a concern for me on that.
I understand. I'll keep that in mind. Okay, so I know it probably varies every day, but can you give us an idea of what you do on a daily basis?
That's a good question. My wife has asked me that a few times, and it is hard to answer from day to day. I think overall, this year has been a lot about budget and about where our finances are, and so trying to make sense of curriculum decisions, staffing decisions, purchases, the things that really impact the kids in our district. Applying those to the budget has been probably the thing that's been on my plate on a daily basis since I've been here. I try to get out to schools as much as I can. I try to see what's going on in the. Really, I've just mostly been in the hallways and the office areas at this point. Been in a few classrooms, but it's kind of nice to see what's going on in the building. See how the purchases we make, the expenditures we have, see how those actually apply into the buildings, and so. Day to day, I don't know if that's necessarily answers that question, but a lot of policy things, law things, funding information. Go through a lot of that on a daily basis.
Right, it gave us an idea. So you mentioned budget. Mm-hmm. Could you possibly give us a little information on how that has progressed, or if we've made any?
Well, across the state of Kansas, every district is in a tight budget situation, and we've got probably a little bit more to address with that. With budget, but our budget it starts to get tight about this time of year. You start to get a picture of where you're going to finish a year and how you want to carry over into next year, and so at this point, it's probably getting a little bit more. I probably have a little more anxiety about where we're sitting. I do think we're making some improvements on where on our budget situation, but the depth of those improvements is yet to be determined. We still have taking a pulse on that right now. So,
right. So you're familiar with the Beaver Broadcasting Network.
Yeah.
Could you tell us what you think about it?
I think it's outstanding. In fact, I couldn't make it to the basketball games the other night in Holcomb, so I was out of town. So I sat in my hotel room and watched them on my iPhone.
So you were listening to me play by play.
That's right. That's right. It was a great broadcast.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's impressive. And I've got feedback from other schools. Who have commented on that as well too. Clearwater was an example.
Yeah.
The Monday after the Clearwater football game, I got an email from their board president saying how impressed they were with that, and they're going to try to do that same thing for us next year. They're hoping to broadcast a game so we can watch from out in western Kansas. So
it's always good getting comments from other schools about that kind of stuff.
Right.
Okay, so last question. Has anyone ever told you that you look like Peyton Manning?
Yes, I've been told that. The board office staff at my prior school used to tell me I look like Peyton, but
kind of sound like him a little bit too.
Sound like him a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's a compliment, but I don't make the money he makes. I don't have the lifestyle he has, but I'll take that as a compliment.
All right, Mr. Rumford, again, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it, Miguel.
I didn't know who that guy was before that interview.
Well, now you know. Katie Nowak did a report on the school iPads back in September, and now she's here to give you an update in January.
I asked the students and teachers of SCHS their views on how they are benefiting from the iPads and how they felt about them at the beginning of the year. But I started thinking and realized that report needed to be taken further. The iPads are used for just about everything here at SCHS. In music classes, the iPads can be used to read music. Notes can be taken in science and math classes. Videos are taken of lifts and weights classes. And they are used for so much more. As I have walked the halls of SCHS, opinions have been talked about and said between different students and teachers. So I took to these halls and asked them their opinions and views of the iPads now. Some teachers here at SCHS think that the iPads are in fact changing or altering the way that they are teaching their students. And some students also feel like they have been taught differently this year.
It's changing my instructional style and making me a little more creative.
I think it's not as hands-on anymore. We just get paper on the iPad and they're like, here you go.
With thinking that they are being taught differently, some students may not accept or like it, so they may begin to use their iPads for distraction purposes, such as games instead of educational reasons.
I get caught playing games a lot, so I think they're a distraction.
I choose to use it for more educational things. I like it because you have your homework right where you are all the time, and it's just handy to have everything in the same place.
I would say 98% of the kids are doing really good, but there are 2% of the kids who are distracted, but with the new locking thing that we have in, it has helped.
Now you may be wondering, What is the new lock thing?
Now the kids, according to the assignments, they are locked into a given app, and kids cannot get out of that app. So they are forced to work on that assignment. And it's not locked for the whole hour. It's just for 15-20 minutes, depending on how much time those kids need to complete their assignment.
But students can be pretty sneaky.
You can get this little icon and tap it, and it'll say you can switch without the teachers even knowing you switch to games.
To every bad, there is a good. Even though there are some distractions that come with iPads, many students are feeling like they are benefiting from them.
They're just helpful to me in the class, just using them for just schoolwork and whatnot.
I think it's really helping be organized because everything's in one place. You don't have to go from notebook to notebook and like have multiple folders and have books everywhere. I think that's been nice.
Students aren't the only ones benefiting though. Teachers have had them for 2 years now, and they seem to be benefiting also, even though there are a few kinks in the road.
Well, I really like them. I like them because I think they're a really good tool. There's some things that are really frustrating about them, such as you think an app is going to work and it doesn't work for everybody, and so it is a little disorganized for me.
Probably easier for me taking stuff home to grade it, and instead of hauling papers home, I just take my iPad home.
iPads are becoming the next big thing in schools all over the country. Many of these schools are spending millions of dollars but end up selling the iPads after just a few years and changing to a Chromebook or a laptop. One LA school made this change because they thought that the Chromebook was simply more useful. Drew Duff expressed why he thought a laptop would be a better suit for him.
Because there wouldn't be as many games, and like typing papers would be way easier and stuff. Just the school would be way easier.
We're going to be not consumers, but creators.
People are learning that iPads can be a blessing. However, if not used properly, they can be a curse. From Scott City High School, I'm Katie Novak with BBN TV 12.
You know, I really liked how she gave both sides of the story there.
Yeah, she really told it how it is. And for the final story of this January broadcast, it seemed only fitting that we take a look back into 2014 and look forward to what's to come in 2015. Here's White Crop with the year in review.
2014 was one for the record books. All the way from the social media craze to absolutely the most prestigious group of 2014, BBN TV 12. Social media, as always, was a little bit crazy. From the bath bomb, Sean Oakman, Kim K, and the selfie, of course. Sports brought in beast mode or Marshawn Lynch, who knew.
I mean, I know I'm going to get got, but I'm going to get mine more than I get got, though.
So he decided to make one of the most memorable runs of 2014. But don't forget Scott City. Cooper Griffith sheds 3 tacklers and takes the ball in for a 95-yard score, which goes hand in hand with Lynch's run.
Still going, good speed by Cooper at the 30, the 20. Cooper still going into the end zone.
Also, we've got Trey O'Neal slamming it down versus Colby.
And he's up for the dunk. One-hand slam.
And Brett Meyer versus Ulysses.
Stormed by Meyer, and watch out. Gets the dunk.
And some of the biggest news for Scott City over the past year was the fire that spread down Main Street and ended up damaging multiple businesses. We can't forget the BBN though, who covered, broadcasted, and made all your favorite skits.
Baker, the 6'3" senior.
Along with that, we even won some banners for our performances. This is Wyatt Kropp signing off of BBN Channel 12 with your year in review.
Well, that's going to wrap up this January's broadcast.
Yep, and we hope you enjoyed this broadcast as much as we enjoyed making it.
I'm Zara Peregrino.
And I'm Miguel Chavez, signing off for BBN TV 12.